Northeast Streaming Sports.
What's up, everybody? It's another NFC show, and we got the whole gang. We got the whole band back together again. Look at that. What's
Let
up,
our
everybody?
powers combined.
So, lots to talk about. Obviously, three of the four are in the playoffs.
Yeah. So, okay, before we get going, I asked this to Pork Rind.
I think we all did.
How did you get eliminated?
Like what? We sucked. We didn't deserve it.
So,
We did
okay,
not
all right.
deserve it.
When you heard that Wentz was starting, were you like, "Oh, we're done"?
I mean, I had hopes and dreams.
It's good to have hopes and dreams
and aspirations.
And aspirations, and no, I mean, in all seriousness, like Heineke he'd have moments in the games that it was just like, dude, what are you thinking, man? Like, so I was hoping that maybe, because when we did have Wentz, we didn't have a running game. We've finally established a running game, and I thought maybe having Wentz in there, maybe it would be different, but it wasn't. It was the same old stuff that Jamie told me in the beginning of the season. So I didn't want to believe you, but you were right.
Well, yeah, sorry about that.
I noticed so when we played you guys the first time, we tied, which I still did not understand if I was supposed to be happy or sad or, I'd go kiss my sister, although I don't have one for the record, people, just so you know. And then, of course, when we played y'all again, and that was after we got beat by Philly, when we got shellacked, don't even get me started with that. It was a different team. That Commanders team at home, it was a different team. I'm not going to say it was less competitive, but I could just see that it was a difference.
Yeah, it was a good game still.
Plus, Danny Jones, it's like the one team that he's able to beat without even trying.
Yeah,
now he just poops out wins against the Commanders.
Yeah,
or the football team. Or the Redskins. Yeah. I think I played twice against the Redskins, 4 games against the football team, and now 2 games or 3 games against the Commanders. How long has the Commanders had their name? Was it 1 year, 2 years?
Yeah, this is the first year.
So he's had 2 games against the Commanders. He's 1-0-1, and then 4 games against the football team where he was 4-0, and then
No, he lost last year to us.
Yeah, was it last
And
year?
it-
Oh, it
yeah,
was last year. Yeah,
Yeah.
well, see, and I'm glad you brought that up because a lot of Commander fans were coming after me talking about, the pass interference that was a no call. And I'm like, yeah, pump your brakes because there's a lot of controversy with that offsides call that
Offsides,
gave you guys that
year
game.
before.
So,
Yeah.
it's okay if they do it, but I do it. I'm like,
Yeah.
yeah, no.
I mean,
I'm
there
gonna
was-
enjoy
there
it.
was
I'm
a-
enjoy it. So.
There was a lot of bad calls that game, but I mean, they were both ways. I mean, we just didn't
Right.
do enough to
Right.
score. I mean,
Well, then there was the bad call, a lot of people would say against Philly and you guys, how there was a lot of calls that could go either way that way. And
absolutely.
there was not complaints. And
Bottom line, the refs have sucked this year.
they were not consistent. Yes, they are not
So
consistent.
That's correct.
Oh,
Although
happy
you-
New
there ain't
Year's,
nothing-
everybody. Oh, I forgot. Yeah, I forgot to say it. Happy New Year's, everybody.
Happy New Year.
What's
Yeah,
Happy
and
New
not
Year.
so happy for pork rind over there. But
Yeah, we haven't
but
won
you
all
know
year.
what? You did get to see the old Hogettes.
That was pretty
Yeah.
cool. Yeah, it was.
Yes.
Yeah, it was really cool. I mean, got to talk to a lot of them. I've met quite a few throughout, since I've been doing this since 2018. But to see, I think there was 13 of them all there talking, reminiscing of the good old days, and it was really cool. I mean, it was, these guys had like ongoing relationships with the offensive line, the Hogs, and
Oh, wow.
just to watch them, talk about the glory days, and it was pretty cool. I mean, hopefully one day long down the road that maybe we'll inspire someone to carry on our legacy the way that we're doing for the Hogettes. So that's it was really cool.
I would have to say that's probably the see that now there you go. That's good to finally come up.
Yeah, true. True and I talked about this earlier today. I mean, look, I love the fact that it's a hog. Don't get me wrong. I think it's going to help our charity out. But as far as like, they definitely could have made him a little tougher. I mean, he's kind of sloppy.
Yeah, but they should have put him in a uniform. They should have put him in a uniform.
He's in a uniform.
Now I'm talking in like a general's uniform.
Oh, like a commander's, like a.
Yeah,
Oh.
I think he should have been in an actual like a military style uniform, in like the black with the red or with the green with the red, something like that. Just my opinion, not a jersey.
Well, they wanted to tie it into the past. So if you look at the jersey and like the pants and the jersey that he's wearing, it's tied into our old uniforms.
Oh, okay.
I mean, besides the fact that he's got Commanders written on his chest.
Well, and
But
he does have a Kevlar on too, though. I mean, he does.
Yeah, he does. He's got a Kevlar helmet on. Yes.
So
but I mean, they could have definitely made him a little bit more bulkier. Put some muscles in those pads or something, man. I mean, geez, Louise, his gut was hanging out of the front of it. I mean,
he looks like Porky Pig.
Oh,
it's pretty bad.
I did. I have to bring this up. During the I guess the Christmas game, when you guys played the Christmas Eve, right? Or was it Christmas
we did,
Day?
Yeah, we did. We
Christmas
played Christmas
Eve,
Eve against the Niners.
I ain't gonna lie, I was a little afraid. I saw the Grinch, and I thought he was gonna steal Christmas. So,
that was the week before. That was the last home game for us.
Okay.
Before what was it? That was, matter of fact, that was against the Giants.
That was the Monday night game?
Sunday night game, yeah.
Sunday, yeah, you're right. That was.
Yeah.
Well, and that was the beginning of the end, kind of. That spawned a couple of losses, and I know that we talked about this last show. I said I think that if you guys are out, if you guys lose and they win, and that's what happens, because like I said, I thought that it's a very interesting setup here. Right now, Seattle has the seventh seed.
The 7th seed. Yep.
Mhm.
However, if Green Bay wins, they
get-
will not, and Seattle wins, they knock Seattle out of the 7th seed.
Yep.
Very unique how that all goes. That must be like a 5th or 6th tiebreaker down the line.
It's they have the higher conference record because it's an NFC win, and they use that as the tiebreaker for the Packers.
Yeah, and the weirdest thing is everybody's already writing off Detroit Lions as if Green Bay is going to
which they should not.
Yeah, they've
No.
already washed away the Lions, and I'm just sitting there like, you do know they just won 41 points, right? They just scored 41 points against their opponent. I'm like, and when Green Bay doesn't make it, because I believe the Lions are going to take that game. I think
It's
they're
going to
gonna
be a
take it
good
to 'em.
game. Rodgers is playing well now.
He
Yeah.
is.
I don't know what happened with both of these teams, but Green Bay's turning around and Detroit definitely turned around. But I would say Detroit might have the edge, but it might be a wash because it's in Lambeau.
Yeah.
So I mean, when you're in Lambeau, things happen. So I did see
know
that
firsthand.
question. Oh, exactly. So
Wow.
I saw that question. Yes, the Giants are going to play the starters this week against Philly, which I do want to say that all of a sudden Dallas Cowboy fans are now Giant fans this week because they have a slim possibility. Oh, I'm getting the posts on TikTok and Instagram.
Oh, I believe that.
Yeah,
It's just what I've always said. We had our destiny from game one. We didn't
Right.
control it, and I ain't gonna let anybody else control us. It's crazy.
And it's funny. I spoke to someone this morning about that, and they said, I know you hate the Cowboys, blah blah blah. So let me guess, you want your Giants to lose? No, you play to win the game.
Yep.
We're not going to sit here and lose when it's convenient. Like somebody that's going to stay nameless. But I mean, we're going to play the game, and whatever happens, happens. Now I'll say that. Yeah, I had to throw that dig in there. I did. Dable did say that he's going to start his starters, but that could mean anything. I mean, they play one play, and then they're going to sit everybody out. But because I do not, I don't see Saquon running the ball this weekend against the Eagles. He might get a carry and maybe a screen, but that's it. I mean, especially with his history of injuries.
Yeah, you don't want to risk that. Going
Jones.
into the playoffs.
I mean, we laid it out all on the line yesterday. Okay,
Yep.
We emptied the playbook. Okay, so Jones, went off on I mean, I love to see Jones play like that. I want him to keep. They're going to sign him. Multi-deal. Same thing with Saquon. Who they're going to tag, who they're going to re-sign. That we'll talk about that later. But I don't see them running Jones as much as they are this week, as they did yesterday. So, Philly, what's your? You got to win. No, is he muted?
No, I was doing something I was letting everybody know from my TikTok that they could come over to the YouTube.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
So, yeah, hey, listen, we stunk yesterday, laid an egg, and it went all the way from all the coaches all the way down. The only team that I felt like played was the defensive line. Everybody else, kind of laid an egg.
I thought Minshew was better than that. To be honest,
I didn't think he was better than that, but that's all right. I mean, it doesn't matter because the game didn't matter. I mean, I understand. It would have been nice to beat them because it would have helped our draft pick since we have their draft pick. But beyond that, it's like I know people are angry, people are upset about it. They could have taken care of business and they didn't, and now they got to play. Truth of the matter is that I'm glad that Hurts is going to have to play a meaningful game here rather than sit out for 5 weeks before he has to go play in a playoff game. So that's the one caveat here. The one good thing that came out of yesterday's game was that Hurts is the MVP. No questions asked now. You know, that Hurts would have won that game. At 3 separate plays specifically lost the game for the Eagles. That one running play where he didn't make the third down, he didn't make that first down when he tried to cut it upfield and he didn't make it. The second one where he tried to jump over like it's the goal line to get on a quarterback sneak. Like he tried to jump over like it was a goal line, and that never works. And then literally telegraphing that pick six. He looked and didn't stop looking.
I think the other part and factor to that game yesterday was hoping that Carolina would have beat the Bucs.
Tampa. Yeah.
And that's why the Saints were trying the way they were, because had that been a different outcome, Saints would have still been in it. And now they're completely out.
Of course.
I thought Carolina controlled their own destiny up to that game.
Well, they did, but it also would have left the Saints in there.
Oh, okay.
Yep.
Right. It would have been all 3 teams would still have been available to win the division.
Depending on this week. Yep.
Correct. So
Had Carolina won. So,
it knocked everybody out now. So
yeah, that was the reason for the Saints, I believe, fighting so hard for what they were doing. I mean, what they did to the Eagles was, I mean, I'm not going to say it was a quirk, but they did do some things, and it showed. It showed the offense.
Yeah, it showed. You know what they did? They did not protect the fact that you can't fill somebody in for the best tackle in the league and think that you're going to get the same type of production out of the best tackle in the league. You can't do that. And that is exactly what they did. They put in Driscoll, and Driscoll's an okay player. Like let's get Driscoll, but he is not Lane Johnson. And they didn't give him any help. Didn't give him any tight end help whatsoever. And what happened? He got taken advantage of. Now, there were some weirdo calls in the process of that too, and I'm not one to cry about the refs, but that one pancake that called back the touchdown was so ridiculous by the refs. So ridiculous. Hold on. The guy got pancaked and in the process flailed his arm to try to make the tackle. And literally they called the touchdown back.
Yeah,
Such a ridiculous call. But that happens.
You have to look at where that penalty was called from, too. That's what makes it even more ridiculous. He didn't even have a line of sight.
Right.
So
he just went ahead and threw the flag for no reason, didn't talk about it, said, it was holding. And when they showed it on the screen, even the referees went one referee went like this. And just it was so ridiculous. It was so riculous.
Wouldn't be the first time.
It was such a mess.
Yeah.
It was such a stupid mess. And this is where I feel like they absolutely need the egregious call. The egregious call or non-call.
That's why I've been saying they need another official in there with another view, and stuff can be discussed. I mean, they're always discussing whether it's a catch or not. The stuff like this could be discussed because that referee had no reason to be throwing a penalty from where he was standing.
Right.
Not only
you can't be behind the guy and throw a penalty for holding one.
Not only for it to have a discussion, but the ability or the possibility of having it to be reversed. Mm-hmm. Again, I know we talked about it before with the pass interference call. It was like a 99% percentile of it being for having that call to stand, rather it being reversed, because you're putting the integrity of referees' decision on the line, similar to baseball. Because sooner or later you'll have balls and strikes being called, but because the box is different for everybody, and I think that's the downfall of the NFL referees is because they're not being consistent.
Yeah, I just don't think from a point of view of an official, there's really holding penalties. I doubt could ever be turned over.
Right.
Just because of
Well,
play
I mean,
itself.
I think they could. I mean, because depending on how the placement of the arm. I mean, if you have the guy's neck right here,
Well,
I mean, you
They
can kind
would
of
be
tell what a
they
holding
would
is.
be reviewing every play. There's holding on just about
Exactly.
every play.
Every
And-
single- and case in point, our game, Pork Ryan. What was the receiver that pointed at the ref? And the ref, I don't know if he acknowledged it
Terry
or
McLaurin.
what.
Oh no, he did acknowledge it.
He
Trust
did
me.
acknowledge, but he still called him offsides.
Yeah,
Brought him back.
So what happened was Terry McLaurin pointed to the
Check.
side judge, said, "Am I okay?" He said, "Scoot up a little." He scooted up a little, checked again, and then gave him the thumbs up. And then right when they threw the flag.
So, and
we had the same thing against Green Bay.
One thing I want to say to that, okay? And then later on, we had that controversial non-call for pass interference. Now, check this out. At the end of the
Hugging him
game,
from behind.
yes, it wasn't called interference, so therefore it wasn't. no, I'm kidding. But no, so we had the commentators, right? So the commentators on the show, I think it was ESPN. They brought in the ref from past whatever, and the ref said he was disgusted by that non-PI call. If it's a penalty in the beginning of the game, it's a penalty at the end of the game. You need to call it no matter what. Then they brought up that incident about the line of scrimmage call. And he's like, well, sometimes at the end of the game, you don't need to be ticky-tack. I'm like, okay, you got to call it like it is regardless. You can't pick or choose. You have to be consistent because, again, this is what we're talking about.
Yep.
The lack of consistency with the NFL referees today.
Yep. And
So,
I agree with
since we're
Jonathan.
talking about-
I agree with Jonathan too. We definitely need to start holding these refs accountable, and they need to.
You can't be finding the refs though. You can't find them. Got to figure out another way.
Right.
Got to figure out another way. Can't find them. Yeah, they ain't making that much money. They're not making that much.
They're making money. They're
making money, but they're making like maybe what $120,000.
No,
they're not
more than me. Oh yeah, they are.
Oh
yeah, they are. They're making that.
So that's what I'm talking about. So that's, as I say, you can't find them. You got to figure out a different way of being
they're making money in Vegas.
I think one of the starting points has to be the crews as well. These guys are moving around from crew to crew, and they're not comfortable with the positions that they're being put in. Also, they're not comfortable with the other folks, so they're not going to know how they're reacting to the game.
Right.
So therefore, they're throwing penalties when other guys are saying what, and vice versa. So
I tell you, maybe it's time for us to get back our one of our favorite guests on the show to find out what he's got to say about the refereeing, because I know that and he's still I still talk to him on Twitter. He's still part of our group, and we're always it seems like we're always
we need plays to bring him back. We need
that. But unfortunately, he's not part of the refs anymore. So all he can do is
he can give us a good insight.
I mean, the insight is that we already have the same insight he's got.
Right.
You know what I mean? Right. That's the thing. But here's what I got to talk about for a minute. Just because it's all over Instagram and Facebook and Twitter and YouTube and all this stuff. Thibodeau had a sack yesterday.
Oh, yes, he did.
And then he decided to make some snow angels. And in the process of that, not only did he make snow angels for like a little too long, you know what I mean? Like I said, he overextended the snow angels part. Right next to an injured player.
Oh no.
Oh yeah. I don't think. Look, of course, I saw that from beginning to end. I don't think he knew that he was hurt, because you can even see in the even the replay while he was doing it, like after 5 minutes in. Okay, I'm exaggerating, but 5 minutes in of him making snow angel, he finally looks over and he does a double take, and then
So what was the injury?
Ribs. He ended up.
He actually got broken ribs, Eddie. Actually, he might even have a punctured lung. They were going to do tests. I don't know if that happened or not. But the way he was moving, he was having a real difficult time because he got blindsided. I mean, first off, they let two guys untouched go run after him. So the fact that he was sitting there making snow angels for 10 minutes was so ridiculous because they didn't even touch him. They didn't even even think about sniffing or blocking. So he had nothing. He just got free reign to do that. You killed the guy. That's fine.
Right.
I'm all right with
Right.
that. You make 4 snow angels, not 35. And I
Well,
tell you, he literally did. You can count. He did like
I
30
think-
friggin' snow angels.
I
He did.
think the fact that-
You guys all saw the video, right? You all
I'm
saw
gonna
the
look it
video.
up right
Oh,
now.
oh,
I'm
please,
gonna
I've got to
right
look it up now.
Yeah, please do. Look,
I've
he
gotta
look,
look it up
look,
right
25 minutes into his celebration, he got winded. So that's why he stopped. No,
I saw
when he got sacked, he celebrated and wasn't an extended
And
celebration.
literally,
possibly.
he is making snow angels and smacking the helmet of
He's
Nick
not.
Foles
I did
as
not
he's
see
down.
him. I did not see him.
I mean, you
I'll-
watch. His
I'll
fingers
watch-
are
I don't-
touching it.
I don't
are touching it.
recall. I will say I don't recall him smacking the helmet, but I do think that. I mean, he did
I'm
have a
playing a little
lengthy.
bit funny now, but I tell you,
Right.
First off,
think-
the fact that Jeff Saturday said what he said, I really applaud him for saying it. However,
what did he say? I don't even know what he said.
he said he's upset that nobody did anything about it. Like somebody should have did like a DDT or given an elbow to him and I swear to God,
Yeah,
just
I don't think
because
anybody
of
want to do that.
when you see the video, you tell me exactly, because I tell you, Jordan Mailata would have gotten kicked out of that had it happened to his
I mean,
quarterback.
look, 33 minutes into his celebration, it was. I think that was the right amount of time.
I'll take a look at it, but in all honesty, I saw Gabe's. I don't think the guy knows that he hurts him. I mean, unless.
So to be fair, and I'm not going to say 45 minutes into his celebration, but 48 minutes. No, seriously. While he's celebrating, there is no way that he saw, or he would have known towards the end of his celebration. Yeah, he did realize.
But then at the end, after he knew he was hurt, he went over to the sideline. He's like, "Oh," and then he played again, and then he was a little smart ass again. So I mean, that is all disrespectful. That it's all supposed to be a community here, and now you're just you got a guy who's a complete ass and disrespectful and making fun of an injured guy. Let me tell you. So
Okay.
I mean, and of course nobody's saying nothing about it because it's only Philadelphia do they cheer and make fun of injured players from 50 years ago when what's his face got hurt and didn't play anymore.
Cruz.
Not Cruz.
Happened to Cruz. Yep. They cheered when Cruz got hurt.
Michael
Irvin. Yeah, but also Cruz.
Nobody even knows who Cruz is.
Yes, they do. When he rubs it. No, so I'll be honest. I did see him do the sleeping gesture. I don't know the context of it. I don't know if he was talking about Foles or if he was talking about something else. I don't know.
This is your defensive end?
Yeah, this is our rookie. So
Yeah.
we can honestly say I don't know what he was. So I'll talk to that extent. Because they were talking about something when he did that, when the camera panned to him.
I'm going to say
he did not Foles out, so it wasn't because he put Foles to sleep. I'm sorry.
You can lay some responsibility. You can lay, a lot of responsibility on him, of course, but you also got to lay some of the responsibility. That's what took place. I'm not saying it did, but you got at the captains. You got to look at who's the captain, who's the leader of that team, to not grab him by the jersey and say, "Hey, tone it down one step,"
or at least sit under the side and be like, "Hey, we don't do
exactly."
That.
Have a
do your little celebration, do your little, sexy Dexy dance, and then let's go on to the next play.
Yeah, exactly.
So I get it.
Leading into that's one of the reasons that I hate when these guys get a turnover and how they run the length of to go celebrate in front of this phantom camera that used to be there during the COVID years.
Right.
Well, you're right.
It's so ridiculous. It's just like, guys, get your ball, do your celebration, run off to the side.
Right. I agree with that. I think it's getting a little out of hand.
It's getting way ridiculous. Every turnover, every team. Come on, guys.
Well, the fact that you're right. I mean, the fact that they got to run now. Let's put this in perspective. The time that it takes to run from one side of the field to the next is about the length of that celebration that he getting to make that play.
Well, the worst part is when the ball is actually, the call's reversed.
Right.
And then
Right, and then what? You can't bring him back. You can't be like, all right, make him run backwards and actually have to redo the whole thing. You know what I mean? It's ridiculous. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
I mean, I do. And you want to celebrate.
Yeah,
but,
and I believe it'd be as from a fan perspective.
Celebrate for like 6 minutes while somebody is hurt right next to you, and you want to act like you don't see it.
I don't think he realized he was hurt or even on the ground.
So I just watched it, and he definitely looks at him.
He does.
Yeah.
But it was like sometime after. From what I haven't looked at it again.
After
it
like
was
the
sometime
34th
after
Snow Angel.
He was doing this, and then he looked, and
but-
then he looked again, and then his own player came and got him off the ground. His own teammate, I should say.
He went from doing Snow Angels to look like jumping jacks because he was tired of hitting Nick Foles.
Right, exactly. Realistically, somebody should have given him the people's elbow right in that guy's chest is what somebody should have done.
Send it.
Somebody should have kicked him or something.
Yeah, and
going
back to the turnovers, I think from a fan perspective, I think it would be better celebrated if they went to their sideline and went to the, towards the fans on their sideline and cheered them on and did everything else. It would excite the crowd more than just run into the end zone to an imaginary camera that's no longer there.
That's no longer there. That was there during COVID.
Yeah,
right.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I don't know. I think that the NFL will probably start to do something about that as well. I mean, obviously they're going to have a lot of things to talk about at the off-season meetings,
during the owners meeting, of course.
Yeah, because between the concussions and like the like I said, that celebration, like I said, it was overtly ridiculous. Like I said, you just saw it just now for the very first time, and he was smacking him in his arm and in his helmet in the entire time he's doing it. And as he's sitting there and he's kicking his legs and he's having a hard time because I can't imagine that he's being real quiet in the process. Yeah. I'm sure that there's something else going on. And if I was a Colts, being a Colts fan, I would be I'd be like so miserable with this team. I don't know that I'd even want to be a fan anymore. When you got one of your own players hurt and
nobody's going there to pick them up or, go take care of them.
And that is one thing that I think that's what we need to address more so than Thibodeau. So now I watched that like 3 times in a row. All right. I mean, the celebration wasn't as lengthy as we make it seem like to be.
Yeah, it wasn't 45 minutes, but it is.
But 53 minutes into a celebration, I think, let me stop. But I think seriously, I mean, look, he celebrated. It was, if it was extended or not, I don't know. All I know is when he was sacked, I was jumping up and down a couple times. I took a sip of water. I looked up and he's still celebrating. I'm like, okay, all right, I get it. He got a sack. And it's unfortunately that Foles got hurt, broke a couple ribs, punctured lung. That's the first I've heard of it.
I mean, I don't know. That's what they were afraid of initially. That they actually carted him off. They carted him off.
So, and then one of his players, then one of the Giants, teammates came and picked him up. But I'm gonna.
He didn't pick him up. The other Giant was sitting there slapping him on the chest.
Yeah,
it wasn't picking him up.
Well, he was.
It wasn't like you, dude.
But then
wake
he finally,
frig up. You got an injured player right to you. Next to you.
Anybody that has kids or that has a brother or sister, when you're in that predicament, you're going to be grabbed by your parent, or you're the parent that's going to be grabbing the other.
Facts. And so, and and I think
you're not going to let it continue on. So I just saw it. Yeah,
I think we need to talk about the dysfunction.
It's ridiculous.
Well, hold on.
And if it was an Eagle that did that at any moment, we would not hear the end of it. Well, it would have taken over the top story in the Ukraine. Because the Eagles over celebration. Celebration there. Forget the Russian bombing. Eagles were celebrating way too much during an injury.
I would say this: something needs to be addressed about the Colts team. That play alone describes the dysfunction that's going on the Indianapolis Colts right now. Not only the hiring of Saturday. I know I'm kind of digressing here, But I don't know about you guys. When I played football, if someone did that to my teammate and celebrated for that long, one, I'd be going up to that guy and I'd be doing something about it. And the fact
Yeah,
that
exactly.
he was left doing
Somebody could
that,
have gave him the people's elbow
somebody,
or something. You know what I mean?
yes. And I guarantee you, in Philly or Dallas or Commanders, if somebody was celebrating over the New York Football Giants, they would have been hearing from a Giants player, either someone off the bench or somebody on the
Gabe, shut up.
on the
Nobody
field.
wants to hear what you've got to say, dummy.
friends
All
are
right,
always
Gabe,
celebrating
shut up.
concussions of other. No, he got. Hold on. He has a point there.
And that's
Listen,
the thing.
wait, hold on.
We're not
No,
concussing other players, and nobody's celebrating concussions on other.
No,
on
I
other
think,
teams.
but I mean, we do need to understand something though, and I'm not gonna. I mean, you could talk about Irving if you want to. I saw that Philly game where Victor Cruz got hurt when he ruptured his knee as he's trying to go for a touchdown, and how the Philly fans celebrated. The Philly fans celebrated that injury. So come on,
You show me. You pull up the video, and then I'll agree to it. Because until you were able to do that,
you don't have to agree to it.
Because we cheered because he didn't score the touchdown.
No. It's the fact that the man got hurt, and you got everybody celebrating on that. No, and I'm only bringing that up because first off, don't attack Gabe. Because Gabe he's only been a fan for so long. Okay, you come after me. Not Gabe, and the fact that yes, every fan base
Gabe
has a
wants
thing.
to go ahead and tell me to chill. I don't need to chill.
No, Philly, you need to chill.
See, even from a fan perspective, like when I see an injured player from the opposing team, and I hear a fan, make some obnoxious remark, I'm telling that fan, I'm like, hey, what if that was your kid?
Exactly.
Would you be making that same?
And it happened. And listen, let's be for real. It happens in all fan bases. I remember.
Oh yeah, most definitely.
The playoff game against Tampa, as an injured guy was walking off the field, he passed by me, and then the whole next section of Tampa fans are like calling him, "Oh, big pussy," and all this other stuff and whatever. I'm like, this guy's hurt. This guy's injured, and this is how you're talking. And I literally called out the entire section. Because I ain't quiet about it.
I'm gonna tell you right now, when Dak broke his ankle in front of us, and there was a Giants fan like 2 rows down from us pointing at myself and Nick, like, yeah, Dak is hurt. I'm like, we're not with him. He is not with us.
No.
No.
And that's the thing.
Injuries happen. And right at the moment that they happen is not necessarily you cheer for what happened on the field, not the injury. And then when you realize that the injury happened, I mean, because everybody gives us crap about cheering, when Irvin got hurt. And then truth of the matter was that we were giving a whole bunch of crap to Deion Sanders, who was dancing on the sidelines. You know what I mean? That's what else was going on. And that's what they were really attacking on that. We never knew that he was, that he wasn't going to ever play again.
Did not know these. That's fair. And I can concede that yes, Philly fans did not realize that Victor Cruz was hurt as much as he was, but I think we also need to concede that Thibodeau was not aware that Foles was
for the first 5, maybe. But the next 16 that he did, for the next 16 that he did,
an hour and 30 minutes into that celebration,
coming on. He
said,
"Well,
hold on,
an hour and 30 minutes into that celebration."
Maybe Thibodeau thought that Nick Foles was going to join in on the celebration.
I mean, he sit there. And
I actually said that to Nick. I actually said that. I was like, maybe he thought. Hey, man, that's a good sack. Way to go, man. Way to go.
Yeah.
See you next play.
Yeah, I got you on the next one, mother.
And it's things like that. It's things like that this is a fraternity.
And the other thing, there was
and he's liked in Philadelphia. So I'm sure that there's somebody who's real happy he's going to be playing.
Well, here's the other thing. Not just with that injury, but everybody had injuries this weekend. I mean, now we're headed in. This is, this makes it interesting. We've got another week before playoffs happen. We have injuries piling up. We've got coaches saying one thing, doing other things, and faculty, staff trying to wean everybody to say, no, we're going to start, we're not going to start. And I think the main focus needs to be on all teams that have already made the playoff, try and get healthy before the playoffs start. And that being said, these guys are week 20, week 30 into playing, including preseason with one intervention or 1 week in between, a bye week. And it's just insane that everybody thinks that these guys are going to be up to what,
Do you think
Superman.
Do you think they institute the second bye?
Second bye.
Yeah, I really think they do.
Season. Yeah,
I really think
I
they
mean, I would that mean that they start on Labor Day?
It would have to be legitimately the weekend after.
The weekend.
They're not going to start any
Labor
games
Day,
prior before. I mean,
isn't it typically
especially
the
with a
weekend
second
after
bye,
anyway?
it
the
is.
second bye.
It
They're
is.
going to have to. They're going to have to start on Labor Day.
Yeah, that's the simplest explanation. I mean, look, we've already playing on Christmas.
Yeah.
We're already playing on Thanksgiving.
Right.
I'm pretty sure those holidays are a lot bigger than Labor Day.
Well,
Right.
and they just and what did they say? They said even that Rams Denver game had 25 million people watch. All of the basketball games didn't have 25 million people watch.
Right.
Nope.
And that's so now, like they said, what was it next year? I think Christmas is on a Wednesday, and they're gonna probably have Wednesday games. You know what I mean? Like it's that they'll have like a weirdo bye, and like that's why I think that they're going to have.
No, I
It
think
makes
Christmas
me
is on a
believe.
Monday next year.
Yeah, it is on a
Yeah.
Monday next year.
Yeah.
I had a conversation with
Either way.
Howard Cross, tight end for the New York Football Giants, and he played in the 1990 Super Bowl where they he won it. They beat Buffalo, whatnot, and in that Super Bowl they didn't have the week bye that we do now. It was almost like every other Super Bowl would have. Now it's every Super Bowl they have that week bye. Okay, but they legitimately beat San Francisco, and then they were on the plane that Wednesday to Tampa to play in the game. And I want to say this: I had the conversation. I remember asking him the question: do you prefer having the bye, or would you rather just have the game? And his opinion, and I kind of agree with his opinion. You're on a rhythm. The team is on the rhythm. You got, you're on that flow. It's almost like a length, and you even have that lengthy halftime at Super Bowl. Sometimes the fact of resting players and also having a bye could be detrimental to the team rather than helping the team getting healthy. So the question that I want to ask you guys, look at Tennessee. They were the top seed in the AFC last year. They rested their starters. Prior to I don't know what length. I know they rested some of the players on the last regular season of the game, and then they didn't even advance. They played in the divisional, and then that was it.
Yeah, and I'm going to say.
What? I'm sorry. It's because my house is for sale, and I don't have my fan cave up like everybody else does.
That's a very good point what you're saying, the week, but with today's media, the NFL will not give away a free week of NFL promotions. And they're seeing it as traveling for the teams. They're seeing it as traveling for the fans. They're just building up this thing for 2 weeks. From a standpoint of football, yeah, I want to get after it the following week. From a standpoint from the monetization, I'm going to take 2 weeks and suck up as much as I can.
You're going to milk it as much as you can.
Yep.
Oh,
Absolutely.
yeah. Well, my point was, so let's say hypothetically, Buffalo is already the top seed, right, in the AFC. And so they got one more game this weekend. Do you play your starters? Because now, they're not going to be touching a football for 2 weeks. The rhythm of that offense and that the preparation, the routine. That's all going to stay the same. but you're not playing.
Well, that was part of the reason why I was happy. I'm not happy that we lost that game against the Saints, but I do feel better about the fact that Hurts has got to play on Sunday in comparison to having 5 weeks off before he goes and plays a playoff game. You know what I mean? That was the big deal. Had everything gone to the way that they planned, now you have Gardner Minshew. Now he would start game. Why play Jalen Hurts against the Giants when we've already got the number 1 seed locked up? I can't imagine. Like, what's he going to play 2 series and then go off the field? What's he going to dip from that? You know what I mean? This isn't preseason. You know, so I am a firm believer that things were supposed to happen for a reason, and that reason came to fruition. You know what I mean? Like I said, they laid an egg. They absolutely laid an egg, and these coaches have to do better if they're going to want to be the number 1 seed for real. You know what I mean? Because you got to have, like I said, when you lose your number 1 tackle in the NFL, there's the number 1 spot, and then there's everybody else.
Right.
And everybody else isn't in the number 1 spot.
Didn't you guys also lose someone defensively? I'm sorry, True Blue.
No, I was going to say it was interesting watching the folks this morning on this talk of Hurts playing this weekend. And you had guys saying, oh, well, he needs to start. And they said it that way. He needs to start this weekend for the Eagles to get their definite win. But then you had other guys who were former players saying, well, we're not doctors. We shouldn't be telling anybody what to do. And it seems to me that there's more serious of an injury here than everybody's leading on.
No, he was close. The coach said that he was close to playing. That he could have probably been. He was already like medically cleared. Like they withheld him. He was in practice already. He was doing his things. He would have been able to play.
Is he zipping the ball?
Yeah, he was zipping the ball.
Okay, if he's zipping the ball, then I can see it. But until
my thought is that they chose to hold him out.
Of course,
just as a precaution.
So
he's
he's
not as injured. Say again.
Did you see him warming up yesterday?
No. He didn't warm up yesterday. He was ruled out before the day. So, but I did see him at the practice on Thursday and Friday.
Okay.
You know what I mean? He was doing all the drills and throwing the ball just fine. I mean, it's, I'm sure he probably had a small amount of pain, and they're just like, why push it? Let's see. And this is probably where they were smart. They said, let's see what our offensive line is like without Lane Johnson. And they showed where Lane Johnson is missed on that spot because number 94, the Saints, was just eating up Driscoll. Was just eating him up.
Well, when you have he has an abdominal tear, doesn't he?
Yes.
Yeah. So
Trey Johnson does. Oof.
Yeah. So
that's not.
I mean, that's. What I want to see, because I went back and I looked at the replay of him getting, falling down on that hit, and I'm like, man, I've seen, if he just sprained it, I'll say okay. If he's out there slinging the ball, I'll say okay. He gets that bye week, I'll say okay. But until I see it, I can't believe it. Just after looking at that injury, the way he got up, and I'm not just saying that because it's an Eagles. I'm saying that as from a point of view of just seeing it as a spectator.
True, we all know.
I saw it, and you knew right away he was hurt.
Right.
I knew right away. Like I said, I saw him when he got pounded like that. I'm like, ooh, yeah, that's an amateur. That's an amateur.
We know he's gonna get the shot before the game.
Oh, I can say but it's just interesting to put him out there when he's not fully. And again,
we're not doctors, so we can't say whether he's fully or not at all.
Exactly. But I can tell
I know that he was medically. I know that he could have been medically cleared this week. At least that's what they were alluding to. Again, being alluding to and being for real is two different situations.
Exactly. So. It's just like a concussion. You might be medically cleared, but you're still not well enough to play. And we're
Right.
finding that out this week as well. So, I mean, we've all been injured, and then we've tried to continue on. I from my line of work, where I fell down a utility pole, I climbed right back up and continued to work till I got off, and I said, hey, I'm done for the day. Until you do it, I mean, I want to see him get back up there and throw that ball and not get hit. And, it's going to change the perspective on how he plays quarterback.
Well, you're right. It's good, but and we will see. We will see this week. I can't really speak intelligently any other way because again, I'm not the doctor and I'm not Hertz.
And
You know what I mean?
like I always say, I hope he's healthy because I want to see the best. I want to play the best. I don't want any loose ends. I don't want any of that stuff to say, well, like we're hearing when the Cowboys played the Eagles the first time and then this time with the backup situation. No, that's why you always want to play the best. You want to see the best so you don't have any excuses when you're out there.
So while we got 10 minutes left, I know that we only have to really pick 2 games here. The Eagles and
Cowboys
Giants.
by 35, okay? Just can I get this season over with?
Let the bleeding stop.
I think that well, first off, it's only a 4-point spread, and they're giving the Cowboys 4 points. But I can't imagine the Cowboys are going to play. You know what I mean? I got to imagine they want to win the game, but not that they're going to play a lot. I'd expect that the second half is going to be a rest.
Cooper Rush already beat us once. He'll beat us again.
Yeah, I do see Cooper Rush playing. I think Dak Prescott's going to go in there and start the game. I think Cooper's going to finish it. And I do have the Cowboys winning this one 31-14.
Damn, thank you.
Yeah, so there you go. 31. Sneaky Eddie, what do you say?
Let's see. How many times did you go against the Giants this year? Just because I hate Dallas, I'm going to say Washington 45-0. No, seriously.
Are they giving us 45 points?
Look, we all know who's going to win. Dallas still has something. They have something to play for. It's just not going to come out of my mouth. So I'm just gonna.
I had heard it was a stinger, and he was going to be. He's going to be fine. He's going to be able to be back for the first for the divisional round of the playoffs with Sweat. Josh
Johnny, shout out.
Good. Yeah, I didn't like the way seeing that guy go down.
Yeah, and the fact that it took forever for that cart to be able to leave the field made me really nervous. Like, whoa, that's a back injury. I think it wound up being just a stinger.
I hope it is because, I mean, that was pretty scary.
He went to the hospital and was released from the hospital.
Good.
So it might have been just one of those situations where, I mean, it could have been that, and then he had like a quick Bell's palsy type situation.
Paralysis.
Where he could, where it was like that temporary paralysis type thing that could have, that just could have been triggered really quickly. Again, I'm not a doctor. I don't want to speak out of turn here, but I did hear that he was released from the hospital and that he said today on Twitter that he would be available for the for the divisional round of the playoffs. So, but that being said, and I think that I don't think it matters, but I think that Ron Rivera goes out on a win, and I don't think he's the coach next year. I think that Carson Wentz is going to win a game, and someone else is going to say, "Hey, I think we could maybe change him." So he's going to be going somewhere else again next year.
Yeah, he's one and done.
Yeah. So I think that Washington could win this game just because I think Dallas is going to rest some of their people. Obviously, they'll be scoreboard watching a little bit, and that may change if the Eagles are having a tight game with the Giants. But speaking of that, the Eagles are favored by 2 touchdowns, and it's a 42.5-point spread. 14 points, literally minus 14 against the Giants.
Where's the game at?
Philly.
In Philly. It's in Philly, yeah. You want to go first or you want me to go first? Or how you want to do this? 'Cause, I mean,
why
it's
don't you go first?
okay.
Because you're in the playoffs for the first time. I'm going to let you speak
First time, and thank you. First time in 6 years. I want to say that Daniel Jones played like a franchise quarterback yesterday. Not only yesterday, but the whole season long. So we need to hush with the Daniel Jones Ayton talk for a while. 2 touchdowns passing, 2 touchdowns rushing. Look, you play to win the game. I'm hoping that we can, win the game, but I don't want to get anybody hurt. So for me, if none of our starters get hurt, that's a win. And I'll leave it at that. 6 years is a long ass time. So I'm enjoying this.
Well, we've been talking a little bit on some of the other podcasts on whether Daniel Jones deserves a contract and whether the new GM is going to sign him. And
they're already in discussions.
What type of contract he's going to get. Yeah. So it'll be interesting to see in that off season for him. Oh, that being said, I believe that the Eagles are going to win this game. That it's and that it's going to be if it's anything like the last game, that'll be a shame. But it might be one of those 50-23 type games where who's your backup? Is it Mike Glennon that's your backup?
We will never speak of that name.
Tyrod Taylor.
Ever.
He loves Mike the Neck Glennon.
Oh my God.
Yeah, so I think that your backup will score a couple of touchdowns, but I think it's going to be like a 45-23 game, and
again,
and then we're going to see.
Yeah, our position in the playoffs is solidified, so there's really
there's nothing to play for. And I tell you, I'll be honest with you. I'll be 100% honest with you. I want you to be full bore against the Vikings. I think straight out that you guys beat the Vikings hands down.
I thought we'd get either. Yeah, someone said the Vikings or San Francisco.
Yeah. Now you have the Vikings because right now they're the number 3 seed.
Who's number 2?
San
Francisco. Oh, San Francisco bumped up. That's right. That's because they lost. That's right. Okay. So
because Minnesota lost. Yeah. So they went down from 2 to 3. So yeah.
And I think that you guys actually have a puncher's chance. Actually, a really good chance.
Yeah, I mean,
the Vikings.
60 yarder. I mean, who the hell does that? Shut up.
You guys will beat the Vikings.
Yeah. I might have to make a trip.
Man, y'all already way out there. That's
2 weeks from now. 2 weeks from now.
Yeah,
but that's saying that everybody stays healthy. Everybody's got to remain healthy. So we'll see what happens.
We're talking about Kirk Cousins here.
I hope nobody throws a banana peel in the wrong spot.
Shut up, Blue. Shut up. Don't even put that out there in the universe. No need for it. Oh, true story. True story. So my wife, Mama Boss, she always says after halftime we don't play well. And I'm like, yeah, but this time is different. Sure shit. When she said that, we fumbled the ball after the first play. And I said, you jinxed us. Don't you ever say that again. Ever. And she's like, I don't know what you're talking about. Don't ever say anything about it. So we had a lengthy conversation this morning in breakfast.
There you go.
Bring that up again. So
well, it won't matter. It won't matter. I think that jinx or no jinx, she's gonna be just fine when you guys go up against the Vikings, because it is Kirk Cousins, and as great of a season he had, where they think that he should be spoken about in the MVP conversation.
Get out of here.
Well, I'm gonna tell you what, with all those necklaces they put on him, it sure brought him back down to earth.
Right, to put some weight on him.
Yeah.
Hey, you mentioned this earlier, and I wanted to say this, but it slipped my mind. They're also talking about Holmes as MVP talks again too. So, I think it's going to be interesting on who's actually going to be. I mean, if Hurts gets it, I think he earns it, I guess. But they were talking about Holmes as well, so we'll see.
Mahomes. So I think, interestingly enough, that's why I kind of believe that, if he doesn't play in this last game, then he may not get it. But ultimately, I think that as long as he plays this game and they win this game, he's going to wind up getting it because the last 2 games kind of proves that it's not the
That he
system,
was.
that it is the
Right.
quarterback.
Yep.
Right.
And maybe, and you know what? It sounds so ridiculous, but maybe that coaches had in mind when they wanted to try to do something like that. But I mean, I can't speak intelligently. It seems like a very weirdo thing to do. Like I think about that, like when the Sixers had Allen Iverson, that coach who had Allen Iverson shoot the ball with like no time left on the clock for a 3-pointer so that he could get his 40 points. They kept feeding him so he can get his 40 points and get the rookie of the year thing. I'm like, that coach didn't last very long. So, but anyways, our hour is up. So let's thank everybody. We actually had a big crew in here. Yeah, a lot of people talking and hanging with us tonight. So
Thank you,
rate that.
everybody.
And we will be back next for the playoff edition. Sorry there.
We are in,
Right.
baby. Yes. Yes. I get to be in the conference. Oh, and Park Ryan, what's the score of the fantasy? What's the fantasy? What do we?
I lost in the semifinals by 1 freaking point. I don't know.
Did you?
I did.
Then who the hell am I playing against?
I think you're playing against Jim.
Yep, I think you are.
Not me. I don't know. I don't even keep up with that.
Oh yeah, we could tell. I think I beat you by 100.
Yeah, let's see here.
No idea.
No, Park Ryan, I got you in the Super Bowl.
I don't know how that happened because
Yeah.
I lost. I lost by 1 point the week before.
It was
Yeah,
Tutty. It was Tutty that got you there.
That's weird.
Yeah, we're in the championship game.
You know what? They had to have done a point because I didn't even look at my lineup last week.
Yeah,
Because
we're
it
playing in
said, well, I see that now, but
well, I'm glad you
because I'm glad I looked because during the semifinal, I saw that I lost 126.
Nobody cares.
Oh,
Nobody
you're just
cares.
saying that
The
because
whole
you
thing
lost
was
last
rigged.
week.
The whole thing
That's
was rigged.
how you're saying
Dude,
that.
I am
The whole
telling
thing was
you,
rigged.
I'm in the lead so far. So, but we'll see. I don't count my chickens until they hatch. Because I
Anyways,
think, yeah,
nobody cares.
Unless, forget it.
I can't.
It never worked out the way it was supposed to in terms of that. And I didn't play the right people. I didn't play anybody. I didn't even check it for like 4 weeks in a row. So,
if Burrow goes off tonight, then I guess I do beat you.
Yeah, let's hope he don't.
Yeah,
He's going off.
Let's hope he gets sacked from behind and somebody does a
Snow Angel.
Snow Angel for 15 minutes and
Oh Lord!
enough time
There
for a
we go.
commercial break. Anyway, yeah, we're 3 minutes over. Let's
All right,
there you
guys.
go. Yeah, it's all right. So, anyways, everybody, thank you very much for hanging with us. And as always,
let's
Go Hogs.
Ow!
go
Nothing
Birds.
Cowboys.
Playoffs, baby. We're talking about
Yeah.
playoffs.